Hi folks, and welcome to another t-shirt printing tutorial. I'm going to show you this time on how we're combining vinyls and t-shirt transfers. I had a message on one of my other videos where somebody wanted me to print some vinyls and t-shirt transfers onto some bright coloured t-shirts. So we've got some brightly coloured t-shirts, and we're going to give that a go. So let's just show you first of all. We're going to be using obviously our new Galaxy heat press here, which has been working absolutely tremendously. I've got to change my layout. You may still see that I've still got the other press sitting up there, and I've got to actually redesign this layout now because that will be sticking out a lot further. So I'm going to be moving my office around. So we've been using it on here basically. So it's a lot better for Sharon at this level as well, because Sharon's quite short. So it's okay for me. I mean, I've got no problem with lifting the lever, but Sharon's a lot shorter. Now it's been performing very, very well, this press, and we've had quite some good reviews from the other people who have brought the press, and they're well happy with it as well. So as I say, for the price range, you can't seem to beat it. I don't know how the other people who sell these £200 to £300 cheap presses get away with it, to be honest with you, because they're just no good whatsoever, and you keep getting problems with them. So once you've got your quality heat press, like I say, like we've got here for example, and this one we went for the larger size there, and it has, you know, sort of pull out tray on it there. Absolutely fantastic, especially for when you're doing t-shirt transfers. This comes out really handy because t-shirt transfers, especially for dark t-shirts, you have to remove them from the backing paper, which I'll show you a little bit later on, and they can tend to curl up under the heat if you're actually trying to locate them onto your garment under the actual heat plate. So anyway, that's another story now. So let's have a look at some graphics and stuff, and let's start going and get going now, and we'll start pressing some t-shirts. Right, okay, here's a vinyl I've just cut out in a very neon coloured green, and all I'm going to do is weed it out. So it's really handy if you've got a flat surface to do this on. And you just take your little pick tool, and as you can probably see, before I've actually cut the vinyl out, I did a little test cut there, which is a little button you press on the Silhouette Cameo, and you produce that, and basically you take the outer box away, and it should leave the little triangle in the middle, and that proves that you've got the cutter to the right depth, rather than just guessing it. Every sheet of different vinyl I put in, whether it be flops or glitter or just a standard vinyl, I always do that little test cut in the corner just to make sure that the blade's at the right depth. Otherwise you're wasting it if you don't know. So let me just weed this out, and I'll show you what we're left with on this one. Right, okay, throw that in the bin. Right, now when I've got some small elements like I have here, sometimes the vinyl breaks away. If I just turn it around there, you can see that it's not all pulled out. Well, that's not a problem. All you do is you go in with your pick tool and pick out all the things like the internal parts of the O's and P's and A's, and around any images that you've got. So let me just do that now. Right, there we go. Now I don't know if you can see that, but let's try and hold it nearer so you can see it. That crown there, as you can see, is very small and very detailed, and there's a lot of small cutting involved there. Now with a delicate piece like this, you wouldn't go and try and do that in something like this sparkly type of vinyl, because this is quite thick, and it's quite difficult to weed this sort of stuff, so try and stick to your larger letters or larger images with these speciality vinyls. And when you're doing like small intricate work, for example, like we've done here, you're better off just having like the plain normal plain clothing vinyl. So as you can see, there we go. That's going to be laid on top of that t-shirt there. So I've got that one already. And one other little thing just to remember is you've got to watch your little pieces that you take out. And what I normally do, let me show you, is we just get a bit of tape afterwards and literally just pick them all up like that. And that way you know you're not going to leave them, and they might not, and they'll stick to a garment if you're careful, and that will actually adhere and spoil a garment. So we get rid of them straight away, and that's what I would suggest you do as well. Right, so we've got that nice one there in a lime green. I'll probably put that on a darker t-shirt. I've cut out this smiley face. Again, this is on a transfer paper for dark t-shirts, and we're going to apply this to one of our t-shirts as well. And this is basically a transfer paper. Now, what we do, these inks, as I've said to you many and many times, the inks that I use are basic dye-based inks that you get in your normal inkjet printers. For example, my printer I'm using is an Epson 1500W, and that is a basic dye ink, and all I do is I print onto the papers, and you just get your weeding tool, and I'll show you the actual transfer paper off of the backing sheet. I've cut round there with my contour cutter anyway, with the Craft Cameo Silhouette, and you just basically pick up the paper, the transfer paper, just like you do with a vinyl, and peel it away. As you can see, this one's been cut. And the reason why you have transfer papers, especially for dark t-shirts, is that printers can't print on a normal inkjet printers can't print white ink. So you're using the actual white paper as your white when you're using these white transfer papers. So this is the remainder of the transfer paper. This is the stuff that gets stuck onto your garment and the ink gets locked into it. So that is the waste piece of it, obviously. And what you're left with then, only with dark transfer papers, mind you, as I said to you, you're left with the image cut out on the backing paper. Now, we have to remove this from the backing paper and keep it like this. As I said, this one's I've removed this one off the backing paper already, because we have to lay this face down using the coloured, the dark t-shirt transfers, as opposed to, so when you're using a white t-shirt paper, you literally just reverse the image and then you put the paper down and then peel the backing off. But you can't do that with a dark t-shirt transfer. You have to remove it from its backing paper first. And all I do, once I've actually cut away like that, I get my pick tool, and you've got to be very careful when you do this. You just sort of edge it underneath the paper, and you can get an edge up. And once you've got an edge up, like I've just done there, then you can remove the image from its backing paper. Now again, this is why you don't want to use letters when you're using a dark transfer paper. With letters, or if I'm doing an image and a combination of an image and a picture on a dark t-shirt, for example, I will use the transfer for the image, and I will use the letters in vinyl, like I've just cut out there on the vinyl cutter. So it's a combination of both I normally have on there. So I'm just being very careful to pull this transfer paper off. Dark transfer, so you don't have to do none of this with a light transfer paper for white t-shirts. You literally flip the paper over and reverse it, and it sticks on. So as you can see there, those are the images I'm going to put on the t-shirt. Now I'm just going to create a phrase for the t-shirt, just to show you what I mean. I've got the traffic light there, as you can see, and I'm going to go over to the cutter now, and I'm just going to put words above it. I've not thought of the words yet. I'll go over there now, and let's go make some words up for this t-shirt transfer. Right, okay then, so here we are at the Craft cutter, which is our Silhouette Cameo Cutter. What I've done here, I've just got a 12 by 12 page, which is in the drop down menu on the page settings, design page settings window. I've just chose the 12 by 12 page. The registration mark box next to it, I've just taken the registration marks out, and I'm not using a cutter sheet. I'm just using literally a plain sheet of paper there. And all I'm going to do is press the text tool, which is over here, and I'm going to choose my font down in the text style window, and for this one I'm going to use Hobo Standard, which is obviously under H. There we go, there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the page, and I'm going to type in the text I want for our traffic light t-shirt. I've got ready to, which I'm going to put on one line, and I'm going to just click outside the box now and click on it once more. Now we can size it, you see. That's when the sizes actually come up. So I'm going to just drag it to make it the size I want, and I probably want it maybe 7 inches or thereabouts. So I'm happy with that, so I'll leave that there, and then I'm going to click the text box again, and this will be underneath. I'll have the ready to, and then I'll have the traffic light, and I'll have the word party underneath there. So I'm just going to click on the page anyway and write the word party. Click outside, click on the actual writing again, and then drag it to the size that I want it to. So I'll make that a bit bigger, I think. It doesn't matter where I put it on this page, as I say, because I'm going to be cutting these and laying them on individually. So you just drag that now to where I want it. So I'm happy with that. Now that's it. They're the cut lines. That's what the cutter's going to cut out. Now because I'm doing it on vinyl, you have to reverse the image you want to cut out. And all you do there basically is just literally drag the mouse box over both lots of images, and you'll see both boxes appear. And then I'll go to Object, Mirror, and flip horizontally, and that is actually turn the image around. Okay, once we've done that, we've then got to decide on what material we're going to use and then set our cutter accordingly. Well, I'm just going to be using just a plain vinyl with this, and I know for a fact that the standard vinyl in the settings there is good enough, but we'll do a test cut as well, so let's do that now. So all I'm doing here now is I'm going over to the cut tool, which is up there, and we're going to set the cut settings now. I'm just going to cut the edge, and from the material type I've selected heat transfer material there. Now as you can see, some things open up there, and when you scroll to the bottom of the page there, you can see the test cut button, which is there. So I'm going to just insert my vinyl now. We'll press that test cut, and then we'll see if we can pull out the little test cut, and I'm going to do that now. Let me go get some paper. Well, I've just got a basic sheet here of white, normal standard white transfer vinyl, clothing vinyl, and again, all we're going to do is to open up our lid, and we get our paper now, our vinyls rather, we get them in cut lengths. I'll show you the actual size we get them in. Wait there. We used to buy them on a roll, but they actually make, because there's so many of these about now, if you go to a recognised supplier of these cutting machines, for example, and they supply vinyl as well, we actually buy them in sheets like this now, and it works out so much better, because when you actually install them in there, you can just cut. There's very little wastage, because you're just cutting, like as I say, across the width of the paper, and then you can just cut a bit off there, and then you go feed it in as and when you use it. Whereas before we used to have loads of little offcuts and stuff like that, and then for little offcuts you've got to put them on a carrier sheet because you can't fit them between the rollers. So we just find having the sheets cut, and I think they're 330mm or thereabouts, which is 12 inches, which is the width of this cutter. So that works out absolutely perfectly. Right, so again we're going to feed in our white vinyl, and it's going to be with the vinyl side up, in other words the dull side up. We're just putting it under the roller like that, and then we just press the enter tool. We change that from load cutting mat to load media, and you just press the down arrow to put the little dot next to the load media, and then just press enter, and there we go. That's gone in, sitting there lovely. Now as I said to you, all we're going to do now is we're going to press the test cut button, and it'll put a little test cut in the top corner. And one thing to note, if you do a test cut, and I'll show you that, let me pull this one out. Let's have a look. Right, so I can just see, you've got to have good light when you're doing this as well. And then pull out the outer side box, hopefully, in one movement. And what you should get, I've just pulled that out in one go, and that's the actual shape you're looking for. You've pulled the box which it's cut, but it's left the little triangle in the centre. If when you pull the box out the little triangle comes up as well, then you need to increase your blade depth cut settings, maybe just one little notch on the actual cutter itself. So that's what we're looking for. That means that this is going to cut this out absolutely perfectly now. And if, for example, we done that the first time like that, and it did pull that out, and we needed to do another test cut, just put it back in the machine again, like that, like we just done before. Don't worry too much. If you just press the sideward arrow a little bit, the cutter shuttle will move along a little bit, and it will do a test cut a little bit further along. So don't think that you're going to have to waste loads of material doing a test cut. Get this right first, and you'll have no trouble at all when weeding out. And do that with every different type of vinyl that you use, and you'll be okay. Just get into the habit of pressing the test cut with it, just to make sure that your cutter set correctly. Because a lot of people, when they're just putting it in and they're trying different vinyls, and then it pulls off and all bits rip out, and then they can't get on with it. Just do the test cut, and that eliminates all of that. There we go. So that's it. I'm now ready to test cut. Now ready to cut out them words. So we position the words at the top of the page, so that once them words have actually been cut on there, when I go over to the cutting mat, I can just cut that off there, and then I can save this piece of paper, and it's the right width to go in the next time. See what I'm saying? Right, so let's just put that in there. Wheel that back in again, and now all I'm going to do is press Center Silhouette or Cut. And this now will do its own thing and cut these words out, what we've put on the screen now. Right, okay, let's take this over to the cutting mat and let's see what we're left with. Right, okay then, so let's bring this over here. So this is our cutting, and if you just get the light right, you can see where you've actually cut out. And what I tend to do is I lay it on one of these cutting mats with the grids on, and I tend to just line the edge of the paper up with one of the straight lines on the grid, so that everything's sort of laying straight. I've got one of these long flexible steel rulers, so that I know that when I put my ruler on, where I can see the line, where is it there? I know that I'm cutting in a straight line. And so I've marked the line there, and I've measured it up with the line there, and everything's laying straight, so I now know I can go along there with my sharp knife, like that. And that's the bit which will be saved for the next time when I'll put it in the actual craft cutter again, and it's the exact right width. So that's what I'm saying about keeping things nice and straight. If that line was all jagged, you'd have a hell of a job putting that into your craft cutter. So just make sure that you just take a little time and effort to keep things straight, and then it makes the whole procedure so much easier. So I'm going to cut again because I've actually got two lots of words on here, as you know. Cut there. So that's that. That's my two images now cut out. So all I've got to do is weed them two lots of letters out now, and they'll be ready to apply to our t-shirt. And also, when you're weeding out, make sure that you look at your writing, for example, and then cut in, weed into the letters, and that way you'll find things pull out a lot easier. So I'm just going to get the edge there, and then out we go. But as I say, weeding can be as simple. If you're keeping your letters in strips like I've just done here, it's a lot easier to weed out than if you've got like a big sheet like that, for example. That's quite a complex image. What I could have done was actually cut them out and individualise it. It would have been a lot easier to weed out. So this is a lot more easier in little strips like this when you're dealing with a written word. And there we go. So there's our two lots of words ready to go either side of our traffic light when we put it on. I've just realised that this vinyl that I've picked up, this is one of my offcuts. It's not just a standard white vinyl. This one's an actual stretchy one, as you can see. Look, it's elasticated, and this is what you'd use on like sporting garments or stuff like that. So there's different types of vinyl. I didn't realise. I thought it was just a standard white one, but I knew when I was peeling it that was one of the stretchy ones that I'd done. So yeah. Anyway, that's that ready. Let's go and check the heat press now and see whether that's up to temperature. Right, well, we're up to temperature, and when I got this heat press, we've got these Teflon sheets that were actually supplied with the press, and it's handy for sliding your garments on. I've got to get, like on the other one there, I've got to get the anti-slip protector because that's just nice to lay a t-shirt on. Let me show you. That's just nice to be able to lay a t-shirt onto it and just to be able to slide it into place like that. So having a protector on the base for me is a lot better, as I say, as opposed to sort of holding it on there, because it sort of grips everything, you know. It's all sort of grippy with the rubber mat. So they do supply these with these Galaxies, or they did with my one anyway. So we just have like that on the bottom as well as the top, and it just aids you in positioning your t-shirt onto the planter. Now a lot of people who have the cheap inferior presses tend to complain about, oh, my t-shirt's getting scorched and you know I don't know what to do about it. They mess about with the temperatures and the pressure settings, but the reasons why it's getting scorched is basically because the presses are not heating up correctly and people overcompensate and put the garment under for longer and also try heavier pressure and nothing sort of works for them. So once you've got a press that does what it says on the tin, so to speak, you don't get none of them scorching t-shirt marks. You will get a square plantain mark because obviously you're putting pressure on a t-shirt which is sort of got fibres all sticking up. That's why I actually press the whole of the t-shirt. So this here is a glitter type foil type. These again are quite hard to weed out. So doing it like the way I've done it here took quite a long time to weed out because I've got different fonts there, some smaller writing, and as I say, this is more of a speciality type vinyl. You don't want to go too small with these, with the letters, and also you don't want to do it in one block like this. You should, you know, if you do it in strips, you'll find it a lot easier. So, right, okay then. So we're down near enough to temperature now. I'll just bring the heat press down, lock it into place. It's gone for 17 seconds on this one. I've altered the time a little bit, so we'll see how this one goes. As I say, this is like a glittery type of, not a glitter, like a foil type vinyl. Let's see how this pops up nice and gently. Look at that, absolutely superb, look, no problems there at all. So once I remove that, this is a cold peel product. So let's just wave it about a bit. There we go, just cool it off. There we go. And let's have a little go at this, see what this looks like. Again, different sizes, different size of writings on here, so we're hoping that it's going to look very nice. And there we go. So that's one t-shirt there, the first one done. Now that's a little advertising t-shirt there. That looks absolutely lovely. Look, can you see that? Try and show that there. Very, very nice indeed. Very effective as well. So Tracy's going to be wearing that on her exercise classes, what she goes to. And it's just a nice little piece of advertising for her business, which we've done there for her. There we go. Can you see that glittering away there? Look, in the sun. Yeah, there we go. Very nice indeed. That's the first one done there. And again, nice, bright, vivid colours there. Okay, here's a nice yellow, orange rather. Let's just do a little pre-press on this one. Again, I do this all the time because you will be left with a mark. A lot of people say, oh, I've pressed the centre of the shirt and it's come out a different colour. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see the different colour there? Well, that is the water moisture going out of the actual t-shirt where you're drying it out. So, you know, pressing the whole shirt will stop that colour variation. Because people say, oh, I've got a different colour. It's just, I've left a square. And they sometimes think that that's burnt, but it's not burnt. It's just where the colour, the water is evaporating out of it and it's dried the actual... You know, like when you wet a garment or a t-shirt, it goes sometimes darker, doesn't it? And that's all you're basically getting. So that's why I say if you press the whole t-shirt, you eliminate that problem. Right, so this is a large t-shirt. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do the... I think I'll do the pink one. Let's do the pink one first. I'll do this one with the transfer papers. So let's just put that to one side. It's amazing the amount of moisture that comes out of these t-shirts. Okay. So let's put that under there. Let's put that over the top there like that. Get our t-shirt sitting square. Yep, the same amount at either side. Right, okay, so this is one for Sharon. Is that going to be on there alright? Yeah, we'll do that in green, I think. Yep, that's central. I'm happy with that. So cover that up with the test sheet, push it back under, and let's clamp that down for our 15 or 17 seconds, whatever it was. As I say, yeah, this has been very nice, this press, it's been very good, and we don't get that vicious jumping up because it's got them dampened mechanism on it, and that's fantastic, as you can see. So again, another cold peel product, this one. So let's give it a bit of a wave about. Again, this is just a standard clothing vinyl, it's just that it's a neon colour. Dry that off, cool that off rather, and then literally peel it away. And there you got it. Another lovely printed t-shirt with a different colour vinyl on this one, on a zingy pink t-shirt. There we go. Look at that. There's a little crown there. Let's get right to that little crown there. Look, that's how intricate the craft cutter can cut out. And as you can see, everything there looks absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, there we go. That's the size comparison to my hand of that little crown. So as you can see, you can get very, very small cut, but you want to only use sort of plain vinyls like this rather than the speciality vinyls, as I said a little bit earlier on. So there you go, there's that one. Right, because we're doing a joint one now with transfers and t-shirt vinyls, I'm going to be pressing at a higher temperature now. So I'm going to take I'm going to take it up to 190 degrees, and I'm going to be doing this one for 30 seconds. So we'll just let that heat up, and I'll get back to you in a second. If you haven't got a pull-out press like that, and you're dealing with transfer papers which can curl up, just do it on the workbench. Let's go and do it on the workbench. Line this one up. Okay, so here we are at our workbench. Again, I'm laying it on this gridded piece of cutting board there, as you can see. And all I'm doing is I'm going to locate the graphics where I think they should go, and we'll take it from there. What I find is a good idea is that if you've got your heat press on, this helps. If you fold the t-shirt in half, just line the seams up, take it over to your press, just lay it on your press and give it a quick 5-second blast. And what that basically does is give you a lovely centre line, so there's no confusion as to where the middle of your t-shirt is. So let's go back over there now. Right, so I've got my centre line, as you now know. I don't know whether you can see it, but I know it's there and I can see it perfectly. So that now gives me a lot easier way to line up without guessing the centre of an image. So I'm happy with that. And then the words ready to above it again, and the words party below it. There we go, and there we go. Now, because I've done that here now, this transfer paper, I can't hold or stick it down. So what we've got to basically do, I mean, I could put the tape on there if I wanted to, just to hold these ready to logos in place. You don't have to do this, it just safeguards the item moving if you've got to move it from a work counter like I'm using here to the press. But with that you can't do that, so all I do there, I just take a short piece of Teflon sheet and carefully just lay it on the top like that, fold the top over, gently bring it in, and then bring this over to our heat press. Now don't forget, we're set on 190 degrees here. Just flip them over. The transfer paper is 190 degrees for 30 seconds, but the vinyl normally is a sort of 15 to 20 second at 160 degrees. So we're just going to see what happens when we press the whole lot. Don't forget, this is vinyl and transfer paper, and the transfer paper, as I said, is 190 degrees for 30 seconds. That's what we've put the heat press at. But the vinyl presses at 160 degrees for between 15 and 20 seconds, but we're just doing it for the whole lot and just to show you what happens. Now when you're dealing with transfer papers, what a lot of people tend to do is they will now try and pull the Teflon coat off, and they'll find possibly that the transfer paper might lift up with it. So transfer papers are cold peel products basically, and I know we've only just got a cover sheet over it. I've actually got two cover sheets, so I can actually take this out or one off, but what I mean is if you had that one, for example, just sitting there like that, just let it cool off a bit. Because if I try to lift that off now, it might lift the transfer paper, because that is a cool peel product. So that will probably be enough now, to be honest with you. Again, you ain't got to go mad. And don't forget, 190 degrees, everything. So that's the transfer paper on there. Let's get our, which is a cold peel product. And there we go, there's one lot. And there we go. Those were both pressed at 190 degrees. Again, let's try and hold it up in front here. As you can see, that is a vinyl and a t-shirt transfer. Now there's the t-shirt. Can I hold it in here for you? Look. Can you see the vividness of the colour? That is used using inkjet dye-based inks. And I'm sure you'll see that the colours have actually come out and they're lovely and vivid. And that's the actual t-shirt we've got. It's a combination of vinyl and a transfer. Now what I'm going to do again, look, just to show you, because I get some people say, oh, how long if I'm doing the transfer paper and the vinyl, oh, what temperature do I use? Do I do 50 or 50? Now look, I'm going to put it under there again, and I'm just going to cover it up. Don't forget, this has already been heated up for 30 degrees. Sorry, this has been heated up for 30 seconds at 190 degrees. I'm going to do it again. I just want to show you that providing you've got enough heat to melt the glue into the actual fabric, these are basically with standard vinyls. When you get more speciality vinyls, the time is actually critical because they can actually shrink sometimes. So this is only for sort of standard transfer papers and standard sort of clothing vinyls, which these are. So as you say, look, I'm pressing this again. It's just come out under its 30 seconds. And I'm just going to let that cool off. Again, let it cool off. And I'm just going to put that on the window because it cools off on the window quicker. I'll just cool it off on the actual window itself. I do this quite often. There we go. Just cool. Takes the heat right out of it when you put it on a cold window. So that's it. That'll be cooled off now. Let's just move that away. There we go. What you'll find is that basically everything is still fine. Look, perfect, look. No problems there whatsoever. No shrinkages of the letter. The colours are still lovely and vivid on the transfer paper. What you may find that might happen, which I think has just sort of happened on this one, is you'll get a shinier sheen on your transfer. So if you double press it, you'll get more of a shinier sheen on the transfer paper. I don't know if you see that. Can you see that glistening now? There you go. So that's what's basically happened there, maybe. But double pressing, like I've just done there. There we go. We've still got the same garment, and that looks lovely. That's a combination of transfer paper in the middle with a smiley face and standard clothing vinyls. Now let's do a different colour. I was going to put that on the back of that one, but I don't think I really need to. I quite like that as it is. Let's get another t-shirt. We'll do the traffic light one next. I'm just going to pre-press this and I'll be back in a second. Right, okay, here's the last one then. I'm just going to do this ready to party one on this yellow t-shirt. I've already lined it up. Going to put the Teflon sheet over the whole lot. Pull it down. Again, a combination of a transfer, dark transfer paper, not light transfer paper. Light transfer papers you only use on white t-shirts because they're transparent when they're heated up, and it's the white of the t-shirt that provides the white in the images. When you've got a dark t-shirt transfer, you haven't got a white ink, so you need to have the white paper on a dark t-shirt to give it its colour. So that's the reason why there's two different types of transfer paper. There we go. I'm just going to let that cool down and we'll be pulling this off in a second. I'll take the outer sheet off first. I'm going to turn the press off now because I don't need that on anymore. Give it a bit of a shake down, and our image should have taken our t-shirt graphic. which it has, and let's pull that off there. This again is a vinyl, which is a Cool Pill product. And there we go, that is another t-shirt. Can you see that? Absolutely superb. Let's hold it up so you can get a closer look at it. Again, single press on the graphic. It's a matte finish, and that seems to go well with the black writing which I've actually created in vinyl. So the middle piece, as you can see there, is a transfer paper, which is printed with my dye-based inks, just the standard dye-based inks, and I've done this for 10 years. So as you can see, that's the t-shirt there. And if you don't think you can have fun producing these sort of images with a simple craft cutter and some basic ink, then I've not been in the business for 10 years. There you go, lovely lovely images there, all printed and cut out at our home business, using simple tools and simple techniques. Don't get too complicated. And everything here is what you could do. They're all learnable skills with the materials that I use. Anyway, I hope that's been of some interest to you, but it all boils down to you need a quality heat press, which I've got this Galaxy now, which I'm using. I will get rid of this. I've got to relay out all this area here, but I'm using the Galaxy all the time now, and it's an absolute fantastic press. And you also need a quality craft cutter as well. You don't need a massive big cutter like a Roland GX24. You can get away with this here 12x12 graphics on standard t-shirts. This is a large t-shirt, absolutely fine. You've got no problems at all. So there you go. Hope you find that interesting. Don't forget, these are a little bit more advanced techniques now. I have got the t-shirt transfer printing DVD, which covers all the basics and the equipment I use, the materials I use. You know, I get loads of people saying, oh, what papers do you use? Well, I'm not going to promote any papers at the end of the day, but if you want to know what I use, check out my DVD, because I'll give all the information to the stuff I use in there. And the things I've changed over the years are things like printers, and that's just because they've worn out and they stopped making them anymore. But the transfer papers I use, they're still being used now, and I've used them literally for the past 10 years. So they are quality paper. So if you want to know the intricacies of my business, check out my DVD. Everything's in there. Thanks very much. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And don't forget to check out my other t-shirt training videos on YouTube, which is all free information at the end of the day. And it's stuff that you can actually learn from by someone who's been doing it for 10 years. Okay then, thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye for now.